Hello guys, Cubeologist here, and today I'm going to show you how to take your AoLong straight out of the box and make it competition ready. I just ordered this AoLong a few days ago, and I actually just did an unboxing on it earlier today with my transparent Osu and another cube. But anyway, I thought it would be interesting to show you guys what I do to my cubes just to make them ready to break in. Take away the spring noise, make sure everything's lubed, make sure everything's sanded down. Just show you what I do to make my cube mine. First off, let's get this out of the box, take a look at it. If you've already seen my unboxing, it's not a big shock, but I just put it back in here for effect, just to show that this is a brand new cube. Alright, so as you see, this plastic piece here is still on that. I hate those. Take that off. You know, you'd think a company as nice as MoYu could at least fit those to the cube a little better if they expected us to leave them on. I do like the logo though, but they chip away really quickly. Anyway, the first thing I do when I get a cube out of the box is I start to feel for sharp edges. I don't know if it's the three-piece assembly or if it's the plastic they use, but every AoLong I've ever handled straight out of the box seems to have really sharp edges. What I like to do is, I actually ordered this diamond sander, I don't know where from, but I like to take it and just take some of the edge off of that. It smooths down in an hour or two after you're using it, but I'm going to go ahead and fast forward, but I just take that and do all the corners. Alright, now that we've taken care of the sharp edges, let's go ahead and get into the insides of this thing. You can just pop out an edge. If you can't take an edge out, you can always take the center cap off and unscrew one of the screws, and that makes it really easy to take apart. But I always just pop out an edge if possible. They're typically loose when you get them. Go ahead and take out the top layer. Then you can just take the rest of the cube apart. Alright, we'll go ahead and put that up here for the time being. And go ahead and take the center caps off. Put these somewhere where you're for sure not going to lose them. I tend to lose mine. I have a Zanchi right now with a few center caps on it that don't belong there. I don't even know what they came from, a Guhong or something. But anyway. Alright, then let's get into this core. You can check your tensions already. They're typically a little bit unstable though. Alright, I'm going to fast forward through this while I unscrew all these out of the core. Alright guys, as you can see, I've got all the pieces taken out of the core. We'll set the core to the side for a minute. Just as a side note, I love the MoYu blue core. But anyway, we've got all the center pieces out of the core, completely unscrewed. Now what you want to do is take the screw out. Alright, there it is. When you take the screw out, you're going to see that there is a washer, a spring, and the screw. Now sometimes on other cubes there's a second washer at the top of the screw, but it's unnecessary. So what we want to do first is you want to grab some Weight 5 or Traxxas 50K, whatever you've got. Personally, I have Weight 5 silicone lube from the Cubicle. It works just as well as the others, but I used to use Traxxas 50K, and that works really well. So I'm going to put the tip on here. Okay, so what you want to do first is you actually look down in here. Alright, so I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but there's actually two lips on the inside of this. There's one down where the head of the screw fits, then there's one on up where it can twist around. So what you want to do is you want to put lube on both of those lips. So you take it, you put a little bit, like that much, work it in at the top, then just a little bit, and work it in on the lower level. And it doesn't take very much at all. We just want to stop the screw from having any friction on that plastic. Alright, after that's done, you take your screw, and right around the lip here, you want to put a bead of lube. Not very much at all. We don't want to gum it up. Alright, after you've done that, take the spring. There's typically a flat side and a side that's not so flat. On this spring, it's actually this side that's pretty flat. You want to put it up against the screw head, like that. Then you want to take the washer, find the smooth side. Let me see if I can show you here. On these washers, there's typically one side that's pretty shiny and really smooth. Then there's one side that's got some sharp edges on it. You want to find the smoother of the two sides and put it facing up. So the smooth side is pointing up. Then you take this, put it back in here, and now this is ready to go back in the cube. So I'm going to set this to the side, and I'm going to do the other 5. I'll fast forward through this. Okay, now that we've got all 5 of these center pieces completely lubed and ready to go back in the core, let's take a look at the core. If there's anything on it that might... The core doesn't really interact with most of the cube, but I like to clean up if there's any flash or anything on it, just in case. This one seems to be in pretty good condition, so let's get our screwdriver. Get a center, put the screwdriver in, and then hold the screwdriver with these 3 fingers and pull down on the centerpiece like that. Alright, and then you want to start it off really easily, just twisting the center cap onto the screw, because putting the screw in sideways can kind of mess it up. I don't know, it affects the way it turns. So if you turn the cube and it wobbles a little bit, that's how you know that you've got a screw in a little bit crooked, but it doesn't affect it that much. I just like to keep them straight if possible. So you just want to put it in a little way, screw it in until it stays, and leave it that way. Then go ahead and do the other 5. So, as you can see, all 6 center pieces are back in the core. And now we just need to get some lube between the screw and the actual center piece. You can see it slides over it there. Let me see. See right there? It's turning over where the threads are. So what we need to do is get some lube in there, so when this falls back down and turns, it'll turn more smoothly. And here's how we do that. You want to try to hold two pieces apart at the same time, like that. I don't know if you can see, but I've got this one pulled down and the top one pulled up. As you do that, take the same heavy lube that you use to lube the core and put it right around the edge of that screw while it's pulled out. Now this is a little bit tricky, but I think you'll get it. You can do one at a time if you want to. This way just seems easier. Alright, now I want to keep those held out. And this is something I actually learned from Crazy Bag Cubers, how to lube a Diane Zanchi. You keep those hold out and start spinning the other four pieces, and slowly release those two pieces that you're holding and let them go in. What that does is that coats the inside of the core piece, and as you can see, it starts spinning a lot easier. And by the time you have it all the way in, it's a well-oiled machine. Alright, so what I like to do at this point is go ahead and tighten these down. So I know which ones I've done. See, those are much tighter than the other ones. So then I'll move on to two more. Now this is where you can actually make the decision to make your cube gummy. Some people tend to like it that way, but not necessarily me. I like my cube somewhere in between, not a really dry feeling, but definitely not gummy. So I just add, a moderate amount right there on the screw. Alright, now to check which two of these that I've already done. So it's probably yep, those are tight. These are the last two. Alright, now we want to get it all on even tensions. Find the two that we tightened. See, they're about 2 millimeters from the inside of the core. This space right here. This one's actually a little looser. And that's what you're looking for. Now we can make adjustments later once we put the pieces back in, but for right now that's a good even. And those are pretty even. Alright, now that we've got all this, the core lubed, we've already got rid of the spring noise. That's what putting the lube around the head of the screws did. Let's get back to putting this thing back together. Alright, I'm actually going to stop the video right here, because at this point when I'm reassembling my cube, this is where I add a little bit of lube. I use a really light lube, weight 2 from the Cubicle, and I mix that with MoYu Lube, but that doesn't matter. At this point you need to make the decision of whether or not you want to break your cube in before you lube the pieces or not. If you haven't been playing with your cube at all, this is where I'd recommend that you take it and do a few averages of 100 and just make sure that you've completely worked the cube in, you've got the new filling out of it, and then you lube the pieces. Because if you lube them first, it takes a lot longer for the cube to break in. But anyway, here's how I lube the pieces. Now what I do is, I take my lube and I put it right along this little crevice, right where the tracks run. So, you can lube the flat pieces if you want to, but I find if those are dry, it actually is a little bit faster and a little bit smoother, and I don't really like the gummy feeling on a cube like I mentioned earlier, and that saves from giving it that feeling. But if you do, it'd be a good time to go ahead and put as much as you want there. And I'll do that on each of the edge pieces. Alright, now you want to leave one of the edges out, just like this. And that's in order to put the top layer in. It makes it a lot easier. So then you find an edge. Alright, and you actually want to stop at this point in order to leave space to put the top layer in. So I always start with a corner for some reason, just so I know which edge to put in next. So then I know I've got the blue and yellow edge to put in next. Find the other corner with blue and yellow on it, right here. Then yellow and red edge. Not seeing it. There we go. The other corner with yellow and red on it. And then we'll go ahead and put in the orange and yellow edge. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and put this edge piece in already. I've already put lube on it, so it should be ready to go. Before I put these last two pieces in, I like to put a line of lube right down here in the center, just very lightly, and a little bit on a piece. That's the only piece I lube really, and then just let it flow around. So put the last corner in, and then the last edge. We'll see if we have it too tight or not. Nope. Alright, now we can test out the tensions. Looks like this side might be a little looser. What do you think? Possibly. It already feels so much better than before. What's frustrating is I feel that I can't really tell the difference between the tensions until I put the center caps back on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. But I know they're even because I looked at them and I could see that they were even. So unless there's a difference in springs, I should be good to go. You want to just move the cube around just enough to work the lube in. Now, if you're lubing with MoYu, all you have to do is lube the core the way I showed you. Putting the lube on the pieces actually doesn't apply to people that just use MoYu, but I actually mix MoYu with the lube that I use. So the way you apply MoYu is make sure it's shaken up. I don't know that this is technically the way you're supposed to put it in, but this is the way, and it's always worked for me that I've done it. I take and pull apart my cube, and I put in a drop on that side and a drop over there, let it settle. Then I go to the exact opposite and do the same thing. Now a little bit of MoYu goes a long way, so you really don't have to use a whole lot. Makes your cube really fast. I really would recommend it if you like a fast cube. Alright, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off all the stickers and put my own color scheme on here. Well, that was a bit more tedious than I thought it was going to be, but as you can see, there's actually a lot of residue left on this cube, so I'm going to go and get some Goo Gone or some soap and water, whatever you have, and take that stuff off, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, as you can see, it took me a while, but I finally got about 99% of that adhesive off there that was under the stickers. There was a ton of it on this cube, and it was green for some reason. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anything like that. But anyway, now that I've got this all, the inside's lubed, it's all clean, it's ready to go, it's time to put my custom color scheme on it. Now, if you don't have a custom color scheme, that's fine. Stickers don't tend to matter much to most people, especially the fast people like Felix and Mats. It looks like they just get their cubes out of the box and then just break world records. But I like my stickers to be a little larger. If you've noticed on stock cubes, the stickers don't take up much of the cubie, so I order my custom color scheme online, and let me show you what that is. I have ocean blue, regular yellow, regular white, regular red, then fluorescent orange, and fluorescent green. The reason I switched to fluorescent orange was because I used to get orange and red confused, and then once I switched, I started getting green and blue confused, so I went to a lighter blue and a fluorescent green. The white and the yellow, there's never been any problems, but the way I sticker this is I don't really use any transfer tape. I found that I can't get it really centered to my liking that way, so I use a version that I found online. I don't remember whose tutorial it was, but what I do is I take a sticker with a knife, peel it off just like that, get the cube, and put them on one at a time just like that. It keeps there from being air bubbles, and if there are air bubbles, you can work them out just like this one, and you can get them perfectly centered on the cubies like that. So I'm going to go and sticker this whole cube, and I'll be right back. Alright, well, now we've finally got it completely stickered. It's lubed. All the edges are not sharp anymore. The core's lubed. There's no more spring noise. Don't have a custom center sticker, but you know, you can work on that if you want to. And I know this video's been on the long side, but we actually had a lot to cover. You can see I've still got some bubbles to work out from under the stickers there, but we'll take care of that in a second. I appreciate you guys watching. I hope this helped out, and the only thing left to do to this cube is to solve it about 1,000 times, and then you've got a 10-second cube. The only bad thing is I'm not a 10-second solver, so I've got about a 30-second cube. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been my tutorial on how to lube and tension and generally just prepare your cube once you get it out of the box, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching, guys.